E3 is back. Not really, but it does totally feel like it. I mean, just last week, Sony announced yet another third-person, big-budget action-adventure title in the form of a new God of War, and people are arguing about it, and it's totally Sony's fault. I'm gonna tell you why, though. Don't worry. Then later on, we're gonna get into the nation of Xbox, led by the great CEO, Asha Sharma, vying for that #1 spot by 2030, so they say. And I, for one, believe that they can do it. And finally, I'm going to dig into 007 First Light and give you my impressions of what I believe is a legitimate Game of the Year contender. All of that and so much more on episode 20 of the Working Class Gamer Podcast. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good to be here with you guys today. It's so good to be in front of you, speaking to you. I appreciate your view. I appreciate your listenership, your audience, everything. If you have not already, please be sure to like and subscribe. This entire channel is just a passion project for me. I love gaming and I love delivering information, whether it be my takes or news, reviews, anything like that. I love giving that to you guys. So if you could please support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I don't want to do too much meandering today because time is going to pass. Time is going to pass whether we like it or not. And there's no greater indicator of time passing than being excited about a game and then like not even 10 hours into that game realizing, oh, this is all there is to it. And then giving it back to wherever you got it from. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm referencing Saros. I know that last pod, I told you guys I might have a full, legitimate review for you guys, but the reality is, I got everything I needed out of that game, and I got it all before I even finished it. I enjoyed the sound, the visuals, the design, the gameplay loop, but that's kind of all it was. Just a constant loop. And it kind of has me wondering, like, nowadays, you know, all of these companies are telling us to our faces that they are vying for our attention. They are vying for our time. It's more than just our dollar. Our data and our attention are the new oil. It's what everybody wants. And so for me, a closed loop experience that after a while just isn't going to have much to offer when you have things to do and places to go and work that is to be done. When you do find that quiet moment of respite, you want something new. Even though it's something you might be expecting, you want it to continue to give you a reason to come back. And I think we are at a crossroads when it comes to gaming, where there are games that are truly giving you something new every time you turn your system on, and there are other games vying for your attention and your participation in their closed loop. And so I say all that to say, I'm still playing Crimson Desert. Like that's really it. You know what I mean? Certain games are going to give you certain sensations. They're going to give you certain feelings. They're going to give you certain thoughts, and others are not. You know? And it seems to me that the games that don't really do too much as far as enhancing your worldview or offering you a different cultural POV or maybe putting you in the shoes of someone that you otherwise would never be put into, those kind of games, the gun and ball games, they just keep us in a closed loop. And they ask you for your $75, your $89, your $99, your $129 every single year. And so it's my job here with this podcast to encourage you guys, maybe not to listen to everything I say, but at the very least, to just be intentional with the dollars that you spend, intentional with the time that you spend, because every moment you spend with every game that you play is being recorded. And that data, that is it data or data? That data is being used to kind of fuel the decisions that are being made. And if you're Sony, it kind of looks like you're running out of creative decisions to make. And if you're Xbox, well, you're so down bad that you have nothing to lose by going all in on what you believe you truly are. So with that said, let's get into it. Like I said, it's E3 season. It feels like it, right? It's June. There's a showcase over here, a direct over here. While I was pre-producing this pod today, the entire Nintendo Direct was happening. I want you guys to know right now, I'm not even going to get into what Nintendo has going on until the very end, because what they are doing is why the other two are doing what they have to do. Okay. But yeah, it's E3 season, man. It feels awesome. I don't think we've had a summer of game conferences like this, whether it be live streams, directs, that sort of thing. I mean, they're all live stream, but you guys know what I mean. We haven't had a summer of conferences like this since pre-COVID. I mean, that's when E3 got shut down, right? And it's just really good to see gaming be in this space of getting people really excited. Even though the culture war sometimes tries to overtake that excitement, even though the financials of certain situations tries to overtake that excitement, people's allegiance to different companies and different brands and fan bases tries to overtake that excitement. If you're a regular Joe like me, looking at the games that are being announced and what these companies are trying to do and the directions they're trying to take to better satisfy you and me, that's really exciting. And I don't think we've had that kind of excitement for years. So let's start. So it was 3 big showcases in the last 7 days. I mean, well, from the time of this recording, it was 3 big showcases in the last 10 or 12 days, right? Number 1 was Sony's State of Play. Now, they made a big ado about this whole thing, right? I mean, they streamed this at the Alamo Drafthouse theaters across the country. They told all of us we don't want to miss it, that it was going to be this great big event, that it was going to be things that we're going to knock our socks off or whatever. Now, let me tell you, the only reason that I'm about to give them the grade that I'm about to give them is because people didn't have to pay to watch the stream at Alamo Drafthouse. Okay? I'm giving Sony State of Play, and I'm going to give you guys details of all these showcases, but right now I just want to give you some quick hits. Their State of Play that they just had, I want to give it a B-. We got a lot of release dates for a lot of games that we want, but a lot of those games that we want are multi-platform. And what Sony ended up having to show us from their personal stable was pretty much what we expected, and we'll get into that later. Then we had Summer Games Fest. Okay, now for those of you who are unfamiliar, Summer Games Fest is like it's a few days of just like news and all that sort of thing, and it's kind of the summer sister to the Game Awards. It's hosted by Jeff Keighley. A lot of the people who are affiliated with the Game Awards, like him and other people, they're faces you're going to see during Summer Game Fest, and it has never been exciting to me. And for the sake of this job, I made sure to tune in. I had no idea it was going to be what it was. It was an amazing show. So many games were shown. I mean, there were many times that I kind of yelped just at what I was seeing on the screen. So I got to give the Summer Game Fest, I'm going to give that show an A. Okay, it was pretty good. Now, by the way, you guys can watch Sony State of Play, you can watch the Summer Game Fest, and you can watch the Xbox Showcase on YouTube. I'm not going to go through everything that they did and said and announced at that event, because there's a point that I'm trying to make today. And last but certainly not least, the Xbox Showcase, which was this past Sunday, followed by a Gears of War E-Day Direct. Now, I didn't watch that Direct until later on. Like, I watched that not last night, but the night before, Monday night then. And everything that I saw was really cool. I'm really excited about Gears. I'm really excited that it's exclusive to Xbox. I like how confident Xbox came out. I like that Asha Sharma was front and center to let you guys know that Xbox is recommitting themselves. And I don't think anybody who plays Xbox ever felt like they weren't committed to the player base, but it is good to let us know in the wave of a new administration and it being very obvious that they lost this generation, this past console generation. I do appreciate you reiterating to us that you are recommitting yourselves to the player base, that you're recommitting yourselves to what originally made Xbox the great brand that it still is to this day. They have hit some bumps in the road over the last 10 years or so, but I think they have a chance to turn that around and be a legitimate competitor, not just against Sony, but also to Nintendo. So, I believe that a Cold War is brewing. Okay? I believe that there is a new cold console war happening. And it's happening between all of the big 3, but right now we're seeing the big hitters, the 1 and the 2. They are the ones that are kind of not really going at each other, But they are, again, vying for our attention, vying for our time, and ultimately vying for our dollar. Nintendo doesn't have to do that. They have 30, 40 years really of brand cachet with literally generations of players. Okay. They're good. People are going to show up and buy their games. They're going to buy the mascot games. They're going to buy their consoles. And then everything else that's third party is just happy to be on the Switch, right? So they don't really have to do too much to kind of they got to maintain the trust, but it's not too much trust that they have to gain because they haven't really lost much. I mean, they dominate the industry. So the Cold War is brewing between the three of them, but right now it's Xbox and PlayStation front and center. Okay? And I want to start with Xbox. I've talked about the new CEO on this channel before. We broke down what happened with Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer. I want to say I appreciate their time at Xbox. There were some very obvious things that they could have done better. But, I mean, you're running a massive multi-billion-dollar company within a multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate. It had to have been a high-pressure situation for them, what they inherited. I know it's a high-pressure situation for Asha, but me personally, I feel like that's a position you would rather be in versus the position that like Phil Spencer found himself in the middle of the Xbox One cycle, you know? As I said previously, it was so great that they started their showcase with her front and center, speaking directly to their goals when it comes to identity. Now, like I said, the Xbox showcase was on Sunday, so let's backtrack a couple days to Friday, last Friday, which would have been May 31st, I guess. Last Friday, she did a talk with Bloomberg. She was interviewed by, I wish I knew the lady's name, but she was interviewed by someone affiliated with Bloomberg, and it was like a panel discussion. It was just them two, but they were having this discussion in front of a crowd of people. And they were pretty much talking about her first 100 days as CEO of Xbox and the choices that she has made, why she's making those choices, and where they're going as far as the future is concerned. And I have two takeaways from that 15-minute talk that you guys can watch for free on YouTube. It's on the Bloomberg channel. I have two takeaways. Number one, AI, even though she got rid of Copilot development for console, AI is still making its way back around to being a part of the hardware. I think it'll be akin to what PlayStation has done with the PS5 Pro. I think that's pretty much all it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be an AI assistant that tries to help you buy games and determine what you want to do and all that kind of stuff. But I do think they will have AI accelerated hardware. So I just want you guys to know so that you're not surprised next year when we finally get the full reveal of Project Scarlet. But the second and most important point that I took from this interview was Asha saying, because the interviewer asked her, what future are you trying to manifest for the company? And she said her goal is to be the number one game company, the number one. They want to be number one by 2030. We're halfway through 2026. Okay, so that's 3.5 years before that year starts. We've got new consoles, new hardware. I'm gonna just say new hardware because consoles is almost too specific. We've got new hardware on the horizon for 2027 for both companies, PlayStation and Xbox. We have a company in Xbox that is not just at the bottom, but like there's a huge gap between second and third place. But on the flip side, her commitment to the identity of Xbox, her commitment to the players of Xbox, they have apparently, if we're taking their word for it, they have sold more consoles in her first 100 days as CEO than they sold all of 2025. That's a really crazy number, but it's a testament to just how important it is to keep your customer base, your player base's faith levels as high as they can possibly be. Your players are not your investors, but they are your buyers. Your players are the reason that you please your investors, right? And so the only way to get them to be committed to the brand of Xbox is to give them something to have faith in. And I think right now, by and large, the majority of the Xbox player base that's tapped into the politics of what is going on, they have a lot of faith in Asha. Okay? She had to deal with a lot of sexism, a lot of racism coming into it, and we're not going to highlight all that negative stuff, but it was a reality when she was announced as the new CEO. And every time I've seen her, she's very confident. She's got a smile on her face. She's very clear about her position and her place as a player, not just as a CEO, but as a player. She's not whatever. What's that guy? Stallion, the guy that has like the highest gamer score of all time or whatever. She's not him. She's not Stallion 83. She's a CEO who, when she got the job, decided to create an Xbox profile and play games. The more I watch about her, the more she just kind of gives me, she's the kind of teammate that you want, right? Like, let's say you had a star, let's say you got CeeDee Lamb, right, on the Dallas Cowboys, the star receiver of the current Dallas Cowboys. And let's say he gets traded over to the Eagles. If you're the Eagles, you want CeeDee Lamb to have the attitude of, I'm trying to win a championship. And now this is the team that I'm on. Okay? Whatever I learned in Dallas, whatever resentments I may have harbored, for Philadelphia while I was in Dallas, that's no more, because whatever uniform I'm wearing, I am playing for a championship. That's the kind of teammate that you want. And that's really the energy that Asha gives me. And I think there was no better way to kind of put a cap on that first 100 days as CEO of Xbox than for the direct that they just had. The showcase was phenomenal to me. And what they had going on was a wide berth of games. They had different types. They only showed 25 games, but they had a wide berth, a huge variety of the types of games that they have on offer. And they have one game in particular that tells me they want to play harder ball than Sony does. And it's a surprising one. But we will start with Gears, okay? Gears of War, her first public, well, not her first public ordinance, but her first ordinance in a showcase, after they showed the trailer and the gameplay, was that Gears of War is going to be an Xbox console exclusive. It'll be on PC, but the only console you can get it on is Xbox. Now, me personally, I know that really wasn't a hard decision for them to make because Gears of War Reloaded didn't sell that much on the PS5 when it came out last August, I believe it was. And the most hardcore fans of Gears of War own an Xbox. They own a Series X or Series S or an Ally X, right? So that I don't think that was such a hard decision to make. The only other game, during their showcase that they said would be an exclusive is Clockwork Revolution, which is this game that kind of gives me BioShock mixed with Double Fine kind of vibes. What I saw looked cool. It doesn't look like a day one purchase for me, but I do hope it does well. Because I want to see Xbox do well. I want to see them remain competitive. You know, I know like there was a time when Sega left the hardware game and they kind of just started doing anything in the software game, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. It was really bold, it was creative, but you know, ultimately they got to pimp out Sonic every year. You know what I mean? I don't want that to happen for Xbox. I want them to be a major player in the console market because they make great technology. The Xbox Series X, I say it all the time, is the greatest base model console that you can buy right now. It's better than the PS5 base, okay? It runs well. You've got Dolby Vision gaming and Dolby Atmos sound, which PS5 has that now, but Xbox had that out of the gate. It has more power than the PS5. There are games that run better on Series X than they do on base PS5. They make really great machinery, and why would they not? Microsoft is the parent company. So I definitely want the best for Xbox, but they've got a steep hill to climb. But I think that they can do it. And it wasn't really the showcase that made me feel like that. I know Project Scarlet is going to be fire. It's going to be $1,200, $1,300. It's going to be fire. But I think Xbox has some aces up their sleeve that we aren't aware of. And that to me is mainly the hardware lineup. They found success with the ROG Ally X, okay? They have found success by outsourcing that manufacturing to Asus and selling a device that people actually want, that's a legitimate competitor to the Steam Deck and the Switch 2. Okay? I think they're going to continue to produce that handheld device. I don't know if we'll ever see an in-house Xbox handheld, because I think the ROG Ally X is perfect. And I think if other people want to come out with Xbox branded hardware, like handhelds, I think they'll let them. But I think, and I knew this in 2020 when the Xbox Series consoles were announced, they know their market. They know that they have customers / players that want that 4K 120 FPS machine. And they know that they have players that just simply can't afford the best, but still want to be able to play the latest and the greatest. That knew in 2020 that GTA 6 was going to come eventually to these new consoles, and they wanted to at least have something so they could run, at least if it's any game they want to run, it's GTA 6. I'm telling you what I know. Okay? During my time as a manager at GameStop, I sold many Xbox Series S's, brand new and pre-owned. Way more than I sold Series X's, simply because of that price point. And I think that Xbox has a better understanding of where people are than PlayStation does. I think PlayStation knows they have the name recognition to say, hey, $399 or $499, take it or leave it. Hey, we got this PS5 Pro is $699. And no, those are old prices. Now everything is at least $200 more than it was when it first came out. Okay? So I think Xbox has a legitimate chance if they roll out a varied hardware lineup. If you let Project Scarlet be that crazy pro console that you don't have to iterate on, that's good for an entire generation, that completely ignores whatever the Steam machine is trying to do in the living room, that gives people access to their Steam libraries and the Xbox library and all the power they could possibly want in their living room on their 4K TVs or whatever. But I think they also want to keep a Series S in the loop. I think they also want to keep two types of handhelds in the loop, whether it be the Ally X that's ultra powerful, that gives you really good gaming in your hand, or the regular Ally that gives you all the same games, uses less power, and is half the price. For those people that can't afford the $1,000 price point, here's a $599 price point for this one. You can still take all your Xbox games on the go. They are really good at like the verticality as far as like the delivery. I mean, they call it smart delivery, but as far as like where you can play their games, they have, quiet as kept, set up a fantastic ecosystem between the cloud and their consoles and now their handhelds. And I think they're going to double down on that ecosystem. I don't think it's going to be this is an Xbox type of ecosystem. I think it's going to be, hey, we've got 4 or 5 options for you to buy from us in-house. But if you have an LG TV, all you need is a controller and you can stream most of what we sell. I think they're going to corner the market, and I think they're going to end up having a slightly larger player base than what PlayStation has right now. Because the only way to play PlayStation games is to buy their hardware. And if Xbox can continue to nail down their messaging, it won't matter if you have the hardware or not. There are going to be people who see Gears of War commercials and say, "Oh, I saw the cloud streaming app the other day. Let me check that." In the same way that I did it randomly one day on my TV just because I saw it. There are going to be people who do that, and that's how you get them in. They lost. They said, "Hey, we made a poor choice with the Game Pass price increase. We lost millions." They lowered the price by $7. They got millions back. I don't know if they got all the millions that they lost, all the millions of subscribers that they lost, but they got millions back by going down to $22.99. Sometimes that's all you got to do is lower the price. Make what you offer more accessible than the other guy. PlayStation Plus just went up in price the other day. You know what I mean? So That's my point. That's my perspective on Xbox's side of the war. They got all the money in the world. They've got all the tech expertise in the world. If they can hone in on the studios that they currently own, they will be a contender, not just against PlayStation, but against Nintendo. And the only reason I say Nintendo is because Xbox is taking advantage of the IP that they purchased. There is a new Spyro the Dragon game coming out next year. We can't get Sony to go back to Jak and Daxter. I don't know if we'll ever see Ratchet and Clank again, beyond just being a launch title for their systems. Like, I don't know if we'll ever see a series of Ratchet games. Sly Cooper, we're definitely not going to see Sly Cooper. Jak and Daxter, these games that have mascots that their fans have been asking for years. I don't think we'll see something to compete with Spyro. And I don't know if you, like, quiet as kept, the last Spyro adventure, the remastered trilogy or whatever they did, sold millions of copies, like over 10 million copies. It was a multi-platform game, and it sold millions of copies. Xbox is going to quietly win the war because they've set themselves up to be a true multi-platform contender. They're the number 2 publisher in the world. And while they're honing in on their identity, you have Sony continuing to double down on, I'm sorry, as a PlayStation lover, they're doubling down on everything that's wrong with the industry. These gargantuan AAA budgets, if it weren't for the money that's in live service, if it weren't for the money that's generated via these third-party games, like Capcom is kind of keeping the industry. They're carrying the industry on their back between Resident Evil and Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry and all of their IP. They are literally carrying the industry. EA is not what they used to be. You know what I mean? When it comes to Sony's first party, right? Let's look at their recent showcase. They came out the gate swinging with Wolverine, which is what we all wanted to see, right? We want to see Wolverine. I'm not going to repeat the basic, like, oh, this looks trash, because Wolverine does not look trash. You know what I mean? Some of the character designs kind of leave something to be desired. They revealed that Jean Grey is in the game, and not my favorite Insomniac character design at all. Very basic, very vanilla. I still think the game is going to be great. But Sony has this commitment to ultra high fidelity cinematic realism that I think is tiring their player base out. And then they cap the show with God of War Lao Fei. The next title, not a spin-off title, the next mainline title in the God of War series. Now, we already had the rumors a couple months ago that they were working on the next God of War title was going to put you in the shoes of Fei, that the combat was going to be akin to Devil May Cry. And I just, I was thinking in my head, like, I kind of want to go easy on Sony, but I can't do it. This is the thing about committing yourselves to ultra-realistic cinematic storytelling for the last 10 years. It attracts the worst kind of fans. Because you're not attracting gamers, you're attracting people who love IP. People who just love branding. They love characters. They love, like, to see themselves in video games. I'm not gonna. We talked about just how white males have to see themselves in everything. We talked about that last episode. Sony is overly catering to them. And so you can't be surprised when those chuds get mad at you, even though they knew this is what you were doing. You can't be mad at them for getting mad at you for making a female the protagonist of your next God of War title. Because you have a player base of people that don't even play your games. They just use your ultra high fidelity to compare other games to. They use all of your adventures as like a benchmark for everybody else. Xbox doesn't have the same type of exclusives as PlayStation, yada, yada, yada. They use your graphics and all that as the benchmark to compare everybody else to. The problem for me is they're forgetting what makes video games great. In the 80s and 90s, it wasn't fidelity. It was, to an extent, it was still gameplay first. In the first and second iterations of the PlayStations, it was still gameplay first. You had Devil May Cry. You had God of War on PS2, something we had never really seen before. The kind of gameplay power fantasy that's what kind of gets the neurons firing. SOCOM, Jack and Daxter, they built worlds. Sony's legacy is entertainment and technology, okay? And it shows in the games that they made in the past and the games that they make today. They knew, and I think they still know how, they just they're answering to different people. But they knew how to build a unique world, build unique characters that stood apart from everybody else in the pack. This is post Pac-Man, post Mario. And they were able to develop mascots like Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, even Cole from Infamous. You know what I mean? The Cars and MotorStorm. They crafted worlds that people attached themselves to. And when you got into those worlds, you were met by amazing gameplay. I played God of War 2018. Amazing game. I don't know why people say it deserved Game of the Year. It didn't deserve Game of the Year over Red Dead Redemption 2. But it was an amazing game. Now, I also played God of War Ragnarok. I don't know if you guys can see it. I loved 2018 so much, I bought this $250 collector's edition of God of War Ragnarok. I pre-ordered it in 2022 before I even had a PlayStation 5. I didn't get a PlayStation 5 until 2 months after I pre-ordered Ragnarok, the collector's edition from GameStop, because I really wanted this hammer. And I played that game, and I've never finished it to this day. And I know I'm not the only one with that experience with Ragnarok. Why, Stalin? Why didn't you finish Ragnarok? I got tired of watching 5 to 7 minute cutscenes. And I'm exaggerating. They weren't really that long, but they felt that long because they happened so often. And then you're constantly breaking up the action, which again is really good. The combat and the level design in God of War is really good. The modern God of War games is, well, all of them, but especially the modern ones. It's really good. But you have to watch so much story and get so much exposition just to get to the next battle arena, just to get to the next boss fight. And as soon as you're done, it's more exposition or another cutscene. And then once you finally get in your groove, now they got you playing as Atreus. And it's just like, okay, I know the story you're telling is actually kind of cool, but for me personally, it wasn't compelling enough for me to like deal with playing as Atreus and constantly get the controller taken away from me. I'm saying all this to say, Sony closes their show with a 23-minute presentation of Lao Fei, and there's maybe 4 minutes of actual gameplay in that 23-minute presentation. Now, this is the thing. They were clear. This is the very, very beginning of this game. For those of you who have played the modern God of Wars, you know that the start screen is kind of like when you first boot up that game, when you first put it in your system or you first launch the application and you get to the title screen. The game starts from the title screen. So that's how the demo started. But I'm telling you, it's a 23-minute demo with maybe 3 minutes of actual active gameplay. That's my issue. I don't care that Faye is cool because I played the games. I remember how Kratos talked about Faye. Faye almost killed him when they first met. And he fell in love with her. I totally want to learn more about her. I don't want to learn more about her if I got to sit through 20, 30, 40 minutes of like, bro, if you look up God of War Ragnarok, all cutscenes, it's a 15-hour YouTube video. It's a 12 to 15-hour YouTube video of just cutscenes. In a 25-hour game. That's crazy. It's crazy. That's my issue. I know that Wolverine's not going to be that way, but I'm never going to get some of the stuff that made Insomniac great. I'm never getting we got Sunset Overdrive on Xbox and and a Ratchet and Clank game that same generation, and then Spider-Man. We are never going to get that kind of output again from Insomniac. They're the superhero machine. I don't want to say the superhero slot machine because the games are good, but that's all they make now. They're the Marvel studio. Because it's working for Sony. The problem is though, the problem with those that model is that these games are massively expensive. Spider-Man 2 is a $300 million game. Yes, Spider-Man 2 sells hundreds of thousands of copies a month now, today. Sure. But you have to sell so many copies of that game just to break even. It's the same laws apply as they do at the box office. 2.5 times your budget. What's 2.5 times 300 million? $750 million. So that's you got to sell 10 million copies of a game. Which, I mean, yeah, you'll sell 10 million copies of Spider-Man. Are you going to sell 10 million copies of Wolverine? I don't know. And they apparently didn't sell enough copies to justify the live service game they wanted to do with Spider-Man, where everybody could be their own Spider-Man and do the Spider-Verse kind of thing. That would have been so freaking cool. We didn't get the Venom spinoff game we were supposed to get. I don't know when we're going to see Spider-Man 3. It's going to be a PS6 title, but it's just like Sony, it's a few companies. Rockstar, Ubisoft, but right now we're talking about Sony. Sony is kind of the reason that everybody else feels like they got to take 5 to 7 years to develop a $150 to $200 to $250 to $300 million game. We just saw the financials of Sony out of the fallout they're having with Bungie. They spent almost $1 billion on that studio, which, I mean, to me, it would depend on what the staff makeup looks like. Because if the Bungie staff don't look like who put together that first Destiny and that last Halo game, which is Halo Reach, I don't know if I'm giving them $1 billion. But whatever, they got the IP, so that's what you're paying for. But you weren't able, like, these numbers are ridiculous. You spend $1 billion, you got to make 3. You spend $1 billion, you got to make 3. You're not going to make $3 billion off of a free-to-play game in the form of Destiny 2. And you're not going to make it off of what is kind of a new IP in Marathon at $40 a pop. They got no choice but to force Bungie to make Destiny 3. I don't think anybody has any choice. I think Destiny 3 is on the way. But yeah, this is 100%. You got people online arguing about the female character and all this kind of stuff. And this is y'all's fault. This is y'all's fault. There are weirdos noticing a pattern. Oh, they keep replacing the male protagonist with the female. I don't care, bro. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But it is 100% your fault that is the conversation that regular players have to scroll through. It's your fault, not my fault. Not the buyer's fault, because they're buying what you're selling them. And if you talk to any other PS5 player that like is really worth their weight in salt or whatever worth their weight in gold, whatever the phrase is, if you talk to a PS5 player that really be on the console, they'll say that even though there are more games to play than there ever have been in the history of gaming, that this is one of the worst PlayStation generations ever, if not the worst, because you gave us nothing. You remastered Last of Us 1 again, and then Part 2 for the first time. Horizon is probably the best game you got as far as your exclusives go. And how long before we see the third one? How long before we get to see that story conclude? Or how long do we continue? I don't want to say conclude, but how long before we get to see that story continue? You're trying to give us a 3-player co-op game that nobody really wants. I'm going to play it because I like Horizon, but nobody asked for that. With a whole different arts, like, nobody asked for that. I liked the Sony showcase because of every third-party game that I want finally getting a release date. September is my birthday month, and I'm going to have a hard time in September. Because on September 3rd, I got the Blood of Dawnwalker, which I'm not sure if that's a day one purchase for me, but I do want to play it eventually. And then Phantom Blade Zero was September 9th, but they pushed back as soon as the show was over. They pushed the date back to October 29th, which thank God, because that's really the only October game I can think of that I want. But then you got Control Resonant and, before Control Resonant on the 24th, you've got Wolverine on the 15th. And Control Resonant on the 24th. And there's another game I missed. Oh, Onimusha. Onimusha Way of the Sword on the 25th. Like, and this is all because of GTA coming out in November. Everybody, you know what I mean? You gotta But that was, to me, the best part of the Sony showcase was games I already was looking forward to finally getting a release date. That was it. You guys have to show, I'm telling you, I think Xbox has a legitimate shot at the number one spot if PlayStation continues the path that they're on right now. You're being saved by second and third party. I'm getting ahead of myself, but Stellar Blade announced their sequel at Summer Game Fest. Stellar Blade was a second-party game exclusive to the PlayStation 5, now on the PC. It just got announced like 6 hours ago to be coming to the Switch 2 later this year because Shift Up got out of that deal with Sony. They released a statement a week ago saying, hey, we found a lot of great success with this game. We know y'all like it. You're looking forward to the sequel. We are taking care of the development and publishing of that game because we want to be in charge of what? Our identity. We want to be in charge of how the customer receives us. Not Sony, us. I don't think that means they want to double down on the goon bait and all that kind of stuff. I think they just want to be able to show their characters and their worlds however they want to. And honestly, they showed us the cover for the latest Stellar Blade game. I'll show you a picture of it here. It's AI generated. And it's a whole different culture over there in the East. They are more accepting of AI generated content than we are over here in the West, as far as like when you ask the average person. I don't think they would have got that cover off if they were exclusive to the Sony console. So, I mean, at least, but it might not be my favorite thing in the world, but at least they get to do what they want to do. Which in this day and age of art being destroyed by late stage capitalism, you want to be able to at least be in charge of the identity of your product. They need third and second party because they have nothing. They have nothing to offer us that is new when it comes to first party in-house. I'm not talking about acquired studios like Bungie. I'm talking about studios that have been in-house for a long time. Your Naughty Dog, your Sucker Punch. Insomniac wasn't always in-house, but they became in-house in the PS4 generation. But we know what they're going to be making for the next 10 to 15 years. What is Naughty Dog going to give us? Last of Us Part 2 came out in 2020. You had Naughty Dog in collaboration with other studios. You had them working on remasters. We didn't get a single new Naughty Dog game this generation. Intergalactic is very obviously going to be a cross-gen title between PS5 and PS6. How much longer before we get The Last of Us Part 3? I'm asking for other people, not me. How long is it going to take to get Intergalactic 2? Like, and then Uncharted. Like, it's just they're in the lead, but they've got a tough time ahead of you. I'm telling you. And I wouldn't be so confident in saying this if I didn't see so many of those games that I got excited for to play on my PS5 get announced today to be on the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is quietly, I see a comment a lot in people's like TikToks, like original TikTok people, when they post something that ends up being funny and going viral, and somebody will comment a joke and they'll respond back, hey, you're stealing all my likes. Nintendo Switch 2 is very quietly plucking Xbox players, plucking PlayStation players, even PC players. Because they got everything Nintendo, and they've also got Assassin's Creed. And they've also got James Bond on the way. And they've also got Onimusha. Literally. Stellar Blade is coming. Star Wars Outlaws is on there. Cyberpunk is on there. And it plays really freaking well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to compete? Like I said, Xbox, they've got a much larger bank than you do. Not to say that Sony's a slouch. But Microsoft has trillions of dollars, literally. What are you going to do? Watch this Cold War carefully, guys. Watch it very carefully. I think Nintendo is actually going to end the generation at number one. Bro, there's a DualSense Edge right over there. I don't want y'all to think that I'm just meat riding Xbox, but I'm telling you, they're going to be number 2 in the next 5 years. They're going to do it. Not number 2 publisher. They're going to be the number 2 console if PlayStation keeps it up. And if Xbox can just nail the availability of their hardware to the customer, they can do it. Anyway. Let's talk about a game real quick before I close this episode, man. I was so hyped for James Bond. I don't know what I thought it was going to be. Okay, I watched all 5 Craig films like 2 months ago to get ready for this. I knew IOI had the sauce. I was there when they announced that they were making the James Bond game, and my first thought was that yes, you guys are the ones to do this. And I didn't play the Hitman games. I just watched a little bit of gameplay. It's too sandboxy for me. It's not my type of game. But I can't deny just the achievement that is that trilogy, the World of Assassination trilogy. This game is, to me, this is what cinematic games should actually be. Okay? Cinematic is the blocking. Cinematic is the music cues. Blocking mean like how the scenes are set up, for those of you who don't know. Cinematic is the music cues. Cinematic is the caliber of actors that are playing some of the characters in your game. Cinematic is somebody not playing the game and sitting next to you or watching your stream or whatever and just able to enjoy what they're seeing, because it's almost like watching a movie. The thing that a lot of developers get wrong, though, is that we don't want to watch a movie. We want to play something akin to that feeling. When you're watching a movie, it's not just that it's a whole different world. It's just that there are rules and regulations to cinema, right? And so when we have games as an industry surpass cinema, okay? They surpass film. It's a massive $100-something billion industry. And console gaming is only responsible for like 20% of that, okay? But that 20% is larger than the American film industry. James Bond is a $200 million game, and it feels like it. When I was a kid, I used to love knowing the budgets of certain movies. Like, it almost helped my enjoyment of certain titles. Not everything, but like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen is a $260 million movie. And me watching that as a 13-year-old, it's like, wow, this is what $260 million looks like. Avatar, a $300 million movie. Wow, this is what Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Wow, this is what $300 million like. That's the thing. Sometimes I'm playing games and I'm like, what like... Y'all spent $500 million on this? I played Concord. For 2 hours. Y'all spent $400 million on this? You know what I mean? Like, this feels, it's got cinematic qualities, but it's like it does what the movies can't do, which is kind of through the feeling of the controller and obviously the interactivity that comes with video games. It puts you in the shoes of Bond. It makes you feel like him. And I never thought like Game of the Year and 007 First Light would have been in the same sentence. I knew the game was going to be good. I had high expectations and I felt like it was going to meet them. And then I saw people saying, man, this is Game of the Year material. And I'm like, I feel like y'all be just saying that about anything that ends up being good. Because they said that about Saros. And I do think Saros has a chance, a legitimate chance at best action game at the Game Awards, but not Game of the Year. This is crazy. I'm maybe halfway through, if I'm halfway through. I've only put like 7 hours into this game. This is crazy. It's really crazy how they pulled this off. It's crazy how I care about everybody in the game, and it's not because like a bunch of trauma has been shown on the screen and dumped to me, even though Bond does go through a little something in the beginning. But I care about his handler. I care about M. I care about Moneypenny. I like the dialogue and the banter. They fully understand not just the character, they fully understand the intellectual property. They understand Ian Fleming's work. They get it. The script at first, it very well could have been the script for a movie. And I mean, I love Blade Runner 2049. I love the Dune movies, but my boy Denis Villeneuve, he's got a task on him. I love the Craig films. I don't want to hear nothing about like. Listen, I can watch Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall is, well, No Time to Die is the best one, but it's probably because it's the conclusion. But that's a good 5-movie run to me. So this ain't the place for your Daniel Craig slander. Denny already had a tough time as a director. Who are you gonna find to Jacob Elordi? Who are you gonna find to follow up Daniel Craig as James Bond, who was literally everything that people did not want in a James Bond? I ain't know nothing about that. That's British people business. I thought bro was swaggy and cool, and I wasn't but 10 years old when Casino Royale came out. Who are you gonna follow up him with? Who are you gonna follow up Patrick Gibson as this James Bond with? This game's cool, man. That's all. I don't have too much. I don't have a full breakdown yet. I'm still playing. I haven't finished it. When I finish the game, I will give you guys a full breakdown. But if you have had your eye on this game, go and get it. It is 110% worth your money. Okay? And that's the thing, man. You got to find what you think is worth your money. And honestly, money, that's an easy thing. That's easy to talk about, right? Like, find something that's worth your money. That's easy. It's your time, brother. It's your time. I don't have children. There are no kids in this house. There's a dog. I don't have time for everything they're advertising to me. Sorry. I don't have time for mediocre subpar experiences. I work full time. In addition to trying to do what I'm doing right now, full time. Not like this podcast, but recording and filming and photographing. You gotta put up or shut up. And it don't need to take 8 hours for you to show me, like, hey, listen, everybody was like, yo, Crimson Desert gets good after 8 hours. That shit was fire to me in the first hour, okay? It shouldn't take you 8 to 10 hours for me to be like, okay, I'm willing to give this another 50 to see it through. James Bond had it from the first 3 minutes. Crimson Desert had it from the first 5 minutes. You know? Saros had it, but it's just a loop. I played the Onimusha demo. I believe that game is going to have it. I've been playing Control. I'll talk more about the first Control next episode. I'm playing Control Ultimate Edition. That game has it from minute 1. We have to continue to be... Listen, stop giving all these people that don't do nothing but talk about gender and culture war stuff all the time. Stop giving them a platform. Stop giving them likes on Twitter. Stop retweeting them. Stop watching their videos. Stop giving them the belief that people want to hear what they have to say. And start talking to these companies direct and tell them what you want. Because you can bet your behind that even though Halo Campaign Evolved is coming to PS5, that next mainline Halo is not coming to PlayStation. Xbox is not playing with us. They want our time and attention. She said it, not me. She said it. Go watch the Bloomberg video. She said it. She wants y'all's time. So yeah, man. With that in mind, I'm not going to continue to waste any of y'all's time. I appreciate y'all watching, spending time with me today, listening. I'm going to be back pretty soon with another episode. I think I found the formula, so bear with me. And I'll probably find some time to stream James Bond at some point this weekend. And we'll get back to some Crimson Desert streams as well. You guys be easy, be blessed. You know how much I love you. You know how much I appreciate you. If you have not already, like and subscribe. This has been another episode of the Working Class Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Director Warren, also known as Stalin Warren, and I appreciate you. Y'all take care.